Well, are you ready for the March forecast on Tarot for Our Times? Because it's going to be a bumpy month. We've got Venus retrograde, we've got Mercury retrograde, we have not only a full moon, but we have a full warm worm blood moon. Sounds kind of intense. And then the new moon and the Mercury retrograde, the full moon, and the lunar eclipse all fall on the 14th and the 15th. So that should be very, very interesting. I'm not an astrologer, so I can't go into all the intricacies. I can tell you that Venus retrograde is maybe a time for examination of self-love. It could be a reevaluation of a relationship. Mercury retro is be careful and slow down, because things have a habit of going very crazy. But I've been saying it's not anything to fear. You just need to embrace it and maybe not make any new purchases or decisions. And if you have to, then you have to be very mindful and careful about it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do week by week, and probably one at the near the end to kind of sum up the whole month. Now, I wasn't going to pick a particular card like I do for the readings, but this one just happened to pop out as I was shuffling, and this is Mother Russia. Appropriately enough, that February ended and March began with that White House catastrophe, and of course, the big bear in the middle of the room was Russia. So I'm going to say that this could play a very big part in this forecast. So I'll be using a couple of decks of small cards because this is going to take up a lot of room. I've been shuffling, so need to show you. So to tell you this, the decks are not stacked. Okay, get this one a little bit more. Okay, so today is the 1st, so I'm going from the 1st to the 7th, and I'm going to just do about four cards for each week, and then we'll see what happens. I might be putting some more down, so let's see. Okay, so from the 1st to the 7th, and I will go from top to bottom. Oh boy, I need to put this back a little further. I need a little more room here. 1, 2. Oh, here we go. Here she is. 3 and 4. Then we have from the 8th to the 14th, and that's when the full moon. It's interesting because these weeks are split up, but I think they will flow into each other. So full moon and lunar eclipse at the end of that week, and then of course I think the shadow of both of them will be flanked by both weeks. And then we have alrighty. Then for week number 3, from the 15th to the 21st. Oops. Ooh. Then the last week, we have 2 days tacked on to the end. So I'm doing the 22nd from Saturday to the week from that Monday. So the 22nd to the 31st. So let's see. Oh boy. Why am I not surprised? Okay. Some of these might be earth and weather readings too. Just see what they have to say. Okay. So, the beginning of this one, which was I'm going to say it's a wish upon the star that didn't go quite right. And since we have Mother Russia right next to it, so we have the star in reverse. So that little planned thing, however that was planned, with the eyeliner and the 45, it just didn't. What they wanted to manifest just didn't happen. Everything went haywire, upside down. Then, but they didn't. That's the thing. They don't think so. They think it was a big victory. Then the reason I say that, we have Mother Russia, who is basically pulling all the strings, and you have to kind of wonder if she played a part in it. But I think she feels that she benefited. Anything to make Ukraine feel bad. And then instead of getting away with this whole thing, people saw it for what it really was. And I will have to say that they're going to further learn that our intelligence, even though there were a lot of ill-informed people that voted for him, the mistake they have made is lumping us all together in that and insulting our intelligence. So we got this in reverse. We have the Pentacles. This is just so not surprising. This is as when Zelensky went over to talk to the Prime Minister of the UK and getting together with all these other countries. I know they were talking about Mama Russia, but they're also anticipating the tariffs. So I'm going to say that, and this is going to cause a lot of hardship, and it's going to have a bad economic effect. So I'm going to, I feel as though this is probably some of the meetings were in preparation for that too. So really what happened was that as a result of that disaster from yesterday, it just got them going on getting a meeting together a little bit faster than they might have, and dealing with this crisis. And on the other hand, while we're at it, let's just talk about how he's screwing up the economy too. So so a lot of the week one is going to be pretty much about I'm seeing this more as the international thing that started in the White House on the last of February, moving to overseas. So this week, I believe there will be a lot of talk about foreign affairs. It's going to be an international thing. Although from one minute to the next, things have a tendency to change. But I think we shouldn't be surprised. But I really get the sense that other countries in the world were genuinely shocked by this yesterday. So that's, what are we going to do about this day? And this Pentacles in reverse is also about our not being the big hotshot world power that we used to be. Not to say that'll never happen again, but it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work. So, okay, for week number 2, Temperance in reverse. And temperance in reverse, I'm going to go with the AA reading of this card. And this is like not being able to maintain sobriety. And so this brings us again to the muskrat and his ketamine and whatever they're putting in the orange one. I actually shudder to think about that. So it also reflects the mood of the country, because there are the hardcore MAGAs and in the Congress and in private life who are pretty off balance. It's sort of like this codependent thing. Their master loves Putin, so therefore they've got to as well. And it's all kind of like this big substance abuse, Al-Anon kind of messed up thing. So that's going to come to the forefront as I'm going. What this is saying is that the unhingedness of what happened in the Oval Office is not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. And if they try to sweep it under the rug, it only makes things worse. So this is how we will begin next Saturday. And I think the whole country is just going to be feeling off balanced, period. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles, which is telling me that our tech bro oligarchs are going to have yet one more, God only knows, horrible surprise that is, so that they're going to tout as being beneficial to the United States, where it's basically to line their pockets. So here we go again. It's all about the money. That's what it is. So it's going to be like, oh, you thought that was bad? Well, surprise. And then we have the Queen of Cups. And that is your toxic, manipulative, incredibly wounded, emotionally needy woman. And I'm going to say that it could be some of the MAGA women. They just love here's a white woman that just loves to play the victim. So the energy around this is going to be female, manipulative, passive aggressive, which tells me that this will be the means to justify whatever is coming down the pike. I'm going to say, as I get into the energy of the cards, I'm going to bet it's probably around the money and the budget, that kind of thing. And it could be something else I'm not feeling it with Social Security, but there will be something else that will be cut, that it's going to be disadvantage to people yet line their pockets. And the way they're going to sell it is the Queen of Cups in reverse and sort of make themselves out to be the victim. They're really good at that. And then we have the Page of Wands. This I'm going to call the Page of Wands in reverse the Flying Ketchup Bottle card. I get a sense that with all of this stuff going on here, there's going to be blowback. I mean, there are demonstrations popping up right and left. I mean, they had one against Vance when he went skiing in Vermont, and in fact, he and the family had to find other lodgings, and which is probably very disruptive to their weekend. Oh, I feel so bad. Which is to me, that's a sign of the times that Um, People may be getting more money, but they really can't be. They're getting to be so hated. They really can't be out in public and spend, whatever little money we have to spend and enjoy. We can just go out and have ourselves a nice time without worrying about, God only knows what. So this page of, I think things are building up between the fallout that will continue through the first week of March and the foreign affairs. I think there's going to be something new that's really ill-timed, and people are going to be freaking out, and he's going to be saying, but they were supposed to love me. And but I think the hate will be coming out, so he'll throw a tantrum, because that's what this guy does in reverse. He'll throw a tantrum, and I get a sense it's going to be another public one, because he has absolutely no, he's so uninhibited. It's a further meltdown. It's going to come down to how much more are even his own supporters going to be able to take before they realize he's just pulling them down with him. And which brings us to a week 3, which is judgment in reverse. It's like that there's just so many people that are going to start to judge him, not in the most flattering way, I'll have to say. This is just really going to just add fuel to that fire. I think as more people get more things that are being talked about taking away, I think there's going to be more demonstrations. I should have looked to see what impact that boycott we did yesterday, and they're still talking about the boycott Mondays. I have to look that up. I don't look at legacy news anymore. It's too upsetting, but I'm going to say very poorly judged in week number 3. All of this stuff is going to pile on, but guess what? They're just going to dig their heels in. They're going to dig their heels in and just keep on keeping on, because they're trying to protect their money. And, it's even coming down to, these Republicans that have had the town halls that, they've just been booed mercilessly by their own constituents. So now they're going to, circle the wagons and not have any more town halls. But that is not going to stop people from congregating in front of their office. I remember, could it be like 8 years ago? We had in Pittsburgh, we had Tuesdays with Toomey, and we picketed in front of his Pittsburgh offices. He moved thinking it was going to go away. And we showed, I think for over a year, we just showed up with our signs and the speeches. I'm going to say I'm seeing regular things like that happening. So it's very unwise for them to dig their heels in. I think some are, until it starts to realize that not all of the muskrats' money in the world is going to save them. If their constituents are pissed off, they're not voting for them. They're going to get primaried. But I just have to ask, how long is it going to be? Are they going to have to really Okay, so this is interesting, because when I see this card, I'm thinking of it as upright as the California fires, because it was out of control. It is the ace. But I would say when I see it in reverse, I see it as the fire is smoldering, which is telling me that they really need help to rebuild. The governor really needs help. would say that Zelensky probably set the whole month off by saying, I'm not going to grovel. Sure, I could use your help, but I'm not going to grovel. I think that that's kind of contagious. Courage is contagious. But I think what's going to happen is I see this smoldering that the reaction from Newsom and other governors that have had disasters is like, well, you're not getting any of our money. If you're not going to help us out with FEMA or rebuilding, we're going to keep the money we were going to give you and we're going to use it for that. So we're going to get it anyway. So this is, I would say, this is in reverse because that story has died down, but it's still burning. I think that in the third week that could come out, which could be setting off this little wand here, setting off some other fires to other states to say, hell no, we're not paying you. So here we have to finish off the week is the Knight in reverse. And instead of him being the romantic cavalier like he is upright, he's kind of this real stocky, predatory kind of a person. And who does that remind you of? Of course, for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to say that there could be something resurrected with E. Jean Carroll, possibly other women. And as I look at this, this is Epstein. That Epstein stuff is going to be coming up. It is being pretty much talked about now, though slightly eclipsed with Zelensky. But I'm going to say there is going to be some information spilled. Someone's going to spill out of that cup some more dirt to dish on this. Very interesting. So I they try to put out some BS report of the Epstein thing, but this to me kind of represents Epstein because he was a predator and a stalker and a pedophile and all this sort of thing. But a lot of times when I do readings, if these court cards come up in reverse, they can mean everything they do in reverse, but it also means that the person's dead. So this is like Epstein may be dead, but the energy of all of that is moving on, and I just don't think that there's all that stuff that they are going to cover up is going to be cover-upable, because someone's going to spill all this meaning out of this little guy here. Okay. As we get to the 22nd, and I'm seeing, this is when I saw this Ace of Cups in reverse. We're going to go to Mother Nature. This is a time of year when the mountains, the snow is melting, and I think there was more snow this year than usual in a lot of places. I'm seeing flooding. And cups in reverse, when you, Ace of Cups in reverse, when you are doing a reading for the, earth and that sort of thing, this could be, I'm going to say, I'm seeing a lot of floods as I go clairvoyant. I also see that I'm feeling earthquake, and this is another thing. The seismic, the Ace of Wands in reverse is the seismic stuff, and it's sort of like coming right on the heels of. I think there's going to be another earthquake in the west coast. And I think I'm seeing it somewhere kind of south of San Francisco, but it may cover a wide area. I'm seeing like maybe a 6 something. And I also saw the movie San Francisco with all the effects of the earthquake, and I just kind of got a hit about that from seeing this incredibly special effects of the 1906 earthquake. So, and that's it happened 19th of April. I think it was the 18th, or I was the 19th. But it's in this time period where that anniversary comes up. So I'm feeling as though there could be another one which could set off the maybe some tsunami like tides for the Northwest from Northern California on up. I don't see a tsunami like we had a number of years ago in the Asian oceans, but it'll be pretty strong and may flood some low-lying areas, or people, if you have beach property, you might want to get out, that sort of thing. So I am seeing that, and I'm seeing places like Pittsburgh where there could be a lot of rain and the snow coming down from the mountains. There could be some flooding, some area flooding, and it would be more like people near either one of those three rivers. And then they're just that kind of makes sense with all of this, because it's about it's going to be really hard if they're blue states. Forget about it as far as getting any aid. And I think as a result of this, there are more people that are walking away from this administration. They've had it. I think. I read some of the comments in like WTAE, our local ABC affiliate, and you get a lot of these pencil tucky types that are, Trump right or wrong, he can do no wrong. Even in light of all of these catastrophes, I'm going to say that my feeling is, yep, they're the folks that they may be all secure in their jobs and whatever, but they're just one layoff, one flood, hurricane, or earthquake away from changing their tune. So I do get a sense as we get near the end of the month that there's volatile stuff going on with the earth and a lot of water involved. So I'm going to say that, yep, as people get affected by this and they don't get the help, there is a last straw for almost everyone instead of those Kool-Aid chug-a-luggers, which forget about them. And I also feel as though, things have been moving so fast, and this Five of Cups in reverse, if it's upright, it's sort of like they're stuck in the grief and they just can't get out and see that, yeah, there's a little happiness here behind them if they'd only look. When this is in reverse, I'm going to see like this guy is saying, I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's like all of this drama. And this could be a MAGA person saying, I'm just tired. This isn't worth fighting the fight. I'm tired of all my relatives not speaking to me and people moving away from me at the cafeteria at work or whatever. And to me, what this is saying, this is Trumpian drama fatigue. So between this one and this one, this is reversed. Yeah, when you get both of these reversed, it's like time to walk. It's time to walk. I've had it. It's really not worth it. And I would say, for all of the drama going here, we have a lot of reversals here. My goodness, this is just chock full of reversals. So we have the Eight of Wands in reverse, and when this guy is upright, it's a lot of stuff happening. It's hitting the mark. It's like when you get that great job and then you on your way out the door, you meet someone, you fall in love. It's like every wonderful thing happens, boom, 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 boom. This is kind of like, stop, everything, stop. And this could be an indication that the court stuff is going to start catching up. And things are really going to be stopped. And it could be maybe even the muskrat is going to be stopped from doing his stuff. So I'm starting to see a a theme. So in here, this is eclipse. This is full moon and eclipse time, and this pretty much fits. Like it's an intense thing, and you've got Mercury retrograde, and that's why you've got the unpleasant. You've got a surprise that's not going to benefit us, and all this crazy stuff. All of this crazy stuff, and in the 22nd. That's I'm going to say that the eclipses have a tendency to cast a long shadow, and full moon is like we used to say in the food and beverage industry. It's 5 days before, during, and 5 days after, which is better known as the shadow. So these 2 middle weeks here telling me that that shadow is pretty much going to be a long one. And that I would say, and then of course, the tides and all of this thing with the Ace of Cups in reverse, that the currents and all that, that's very much with the moon. And we're just going to be coming off of the let's see, from the 15th to the 21st, that's going to be the full moon, the eclipse, all of that sort of thing, lunar eclipse. And I think that this could be the big climax, basically. But as you get more into the shadow, it's kind of like I'm done with this intensity. I'm just tired of it. So I do want to part the Red Seas here a little bit, and I think something's going to happen with the muskrat. All of a sudden, I got this thing so because everybody's getting so sick of him. So I feel like I need to draw a card for him in the middle of this. So let's see what we got for him. The King of Swords in reverse. This guy lies like a rug. And he is a king in reverse, and which means, all of his power and everything. But I'm going to say that as we get into the full moon stuff, that and Mercury retrograde, that he's going to mess up until a whopper. I mean, he's already getting caught, but I want to say he's going to get caught up in one that, you just... Sorry, dude, there's no getting out of this. To see, is this going to be the straw that breaks some camel's backs? So we will put another one down. So the King of Wands. Upright. Then he has come up is that. It's interesting the 2 kings would come up. I'm going to say for some odd reason I'm feeling as though... he's putting on a good show, but whatever that stuff is that he's taking, okay. This is what happens with a lot of drugs like that, and I suspect, see, when I did my research, I found out that in the party scene that they'll cut stuff like speed with ketamine and maybe psychedelics and stuff like, I don't know, it enhances it, makes, I don't know what it does, but it does something that people that like to do that sort of thing like. So I'm going to say that he's telling a whopper of a lie, and he's feeling like really, really invincible, like he can just set the whole world on fire. And I suspect that could be his undoing. So let's see here. Oh, here we go. What he thought he was winning comes crashing right down. It's just he's going to be getting into loser land with all of these eclipses, plus with Venus in retrograde. I really think that everything's going to happen at once. The drug taking for entertainment purposes only is probably going to get more out of hand because, hey, in order to feel like this, you need to take more. Trust me. So this is going to be a big losing thing as people move away, and maybe some of those morons in the Congress may just start to be getting wise to him and moving away like these figures do. So he may feel on top of the world and a little overconfident, but I suspect that could come crashing in on him. So let's see what's going to happen with our with felonious skunk here. Okay, with our felon in chief. Okay. Yeah, because I feel like the real peak is the middle of the month with all the eclipse. The eclipse. I think there's a solar one, but it's not a big deal. And the last week is the new moon, the darkness, which is that's the time that you reflect and manifest and do all that stuff. Okay, so wow, interesting. So with Trump, all of that stuff, see, he's been the Eight of Wands upright, like bam, 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 all of these things that he's done nonstop. This is telling me that around mid-month that he's going to be he's going to be forced to stop all of that. I'm not sure unless it's the courts. The Supreme Court may do a real number on him. He's gotten a little overconfident because they haven't gone with him with everything, with a little too much, but not everything. So, okay. So we stop me. Oh, that's going to make him feel awful. Oh, boy, you cannot make this up. Here we go. This is like Looney Tunes time. This is like, whoa. I mean, all of his issues and demons, and this is like when the moon is, it's a funny card. When it comes up in reverse, it's like bring out the men in the white coats time. I mean, this is as things get stopped. Of course, this is going to make him crazy. And if you listen to his niece Mary Trump take some trips down memory lane with growing up with him in the house, oh boy. This guy, and she's a psychologist, he's got like major issues that he doesn't want to get resolved. He'll never get resolved, and I'm telling you, it only gets worse. So, and for some reason, I'm feeling as though he does get highly affected by the moon. It might be interesting to look even at just this last month, is to see when, it's hard to pick the craziest thing, but let's see what phase of the moon that was. That should be interesting. And then we have, Four of Wands in reverse. Okay, I'm going to really hang out on a limb with this one. I'm going to say that maybe Melania leaves him, because I'm taking this as the wedding card meaning, but when this comes up in reverse, especially for the personal readings, it's about divorce and splitting up. In business, it's about the breaking up of partnerships, or it's not working out. Now, because with the moon card, and they do love to live in their little secret worlds, they thrive on that, is that it could be a matter of her not showing up for anything, and that maybe they make excuses, but part of the deal may be that she has to keep her big mouth shut about it. But I'm seeing that it could be she just doesn't stay there. She's used the kid as, an excuse to say, he's a college boy who needs mommy. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm seeing that this is just like, I think the crazy's going to become by if you think he's crazy now. Okay, and then I feel like I need to draw another one for him. Justice. Oh, they can't do anything to him criminally, but I will say that there are going to be some court decisions that don't go in his favor for the administration. Then I was thinking with that Knight of Cups in reverse kind of a thing, that there could be, he may have to pay the piper for E. Jean Carroll. And so this is just, these cards are not good for him, and they're not good for the Muskrat. So who's our big player? Oh, Zelensky. Let's pull a couple for him. And let's see what we got going for Zelensky. Here we do. Okay. Okay, we have Strength in Reverse, which is the view of the Trump administration thinking that they caught him. They made him weaker. But I'm going to say, no, they're the weak ones. But that's kind of how they perceive him. I think he might have gone out of there a little bit like a wounded puppy, because that was just, he got ambushed. But he really is the stronger one. People that are coming from a place of weakness, they will throw big tantrums and be a bully. So, and that's false. That's a false strength. But I think he did go to the UK, but I think he's a little regrouping a little bit. I mean, wouldn't anybody be after that? Okay, so we have the Hermit in reverse, which is saying that he realized how I think he needed to make that trip across the pond to make himself realize that he is not alone. I think that did a number on him. But I have to say, he really, really composed himself very well. But I don't even want to imagine what he must have felt like inside. So I think it's really, and plus the world is supporting him. Hello, folks, the world is supporting him. He is not alone, although I have a feeling he really felt that way as he whisked off out of that den of stench yesterday. Okay, then we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and to me that's the Homeland Security. I think he knows that what happened yesterday, which none of it was his fault, that he knows he's secure in that. He knows that our national, not only our national security, but the national security of the world has now been jeopardized. It's Homeland Security for the earth. And I'm going to say he is going to be operating from that standpoint. And the big come away is that this president, I won't even say the United States, I have to say that this administration, it's just not his, it's not his friend at all. But this is telling me this is recuperation. This is like really seeing it for what it is. So then we have one more, which is, I think that, I don't know. I think that maybe he might have felt that, oh, okay, alrighty. I just got a little message from some of the team. It's like, I think he's afraid of, momentarily was afraid of having let his people down until he realized that it was the Trump administration that has let everybody down, and that there's just no, there's going to be no communicating with him, because he really saw him for what he was. And that the thing is that there's that little time to grieve that, and then it's just time to move on. It's time to move on. So I think that there is the point of grief with us as well, that the embarrassment of how he was treated, and we kind of take some responsibility because it happened in our country with someone who's supposedly our president. So there's enough grief to go around, and this is a reflective character, but it's also contemplating that whatever he thought he was going to accomplish was dead. So you take a little time to grieve about it, and by his meeting with the European, not only the European guys, but UK too. So I would say that that with the shock of this, it did a number on him. But he's going on. He has no. He figures he has no choice. He's going on. So let's see, what does all of this mean for us real quickly? Pages, new beginning. Quite opposite from the little guy in reverse. This is like, we've got to go on. This is giving us more inspiration to get out in the streets or do whatever it is. Make a podcast, call your representative, make, even if it's just a $10 donation. But this is kind of like spurring, I think by mid-month, you're going to see a lot more people. What this is saying too is that, like we had all of that Gaza stuff last spring, this is going to be the administrative stuff. The young people are going to get out there. I don't think they're going to be, oh God, please don't let them be pitching. No, they won't be pitching tents. It's going to be a different energy from that stuff that went on last spring, but it's going to be, they're going to be getting out there. And again, it's like we're all ready to walk away from that stuff. And maybe, I think what this makes us realize too is that it's time to see what's really important. Even though this is a time of resistance, it's also a time of appreciating your friends, your family, and going to them for support, because that's what this is about in reverse. And there will be some times when it's time to take a little bit of a break, just a little bit of a break, to not get ourselves burned out, because between Mercury retrograde, I can't even believe, I looked at this, I couldn't believe it. Between Mercury retrograde and the full moon and an eclipse, that might be just time to take a little pause and think of the, because what this guy is about is he takes a little pause. The stained glass window saying there's a spiritual element to it. And see, notice the fourth sword is right next to him. He can reach down to it, because after you take the little breather, you get that sword and you fight another day. And it's about you communicating too. So this is going to be a time where I would say kind of brace yourself and know that all of this stuff that's been going on right now is going to really hit a climax in the middle part of those middle couple of weeks. The energy will linger, but this will be the time for the actions building up. I would also say that it's also a time when the media is no longer going to be able to ignore this. They've been kind of trying to, but a story is a story. And if this really, and what I'm also seeing is that not only here, but they are going to be in the streets all over the world, because they're starting to see now how this is I mean, at a real level, they're really seeing how this affects them too. So I would say this is a month to pace yourself. It's really fasten your seatbelts. I mean, I think maybe April is going to be, we'll deal with April when we come to it, but I don't see it as quite this volatile. But it will be intense energy. There will be some intense weather, the earthquakes and all of that. So everybody just take good care of yourself, and I will see you again soon. Bye.